have good mouse here. Okay, so those were just other master's programs. I think one of them was in mining. I think we're okay on that. On our research side, we've put a strategic goal in place to try to increase our proposal sizes. We've changed the way we help faculty. Before, we had in 2010 and before, we had about 7 research grants personnel, 4 post-award administration people in the office. We've now gone to 7 people, 4 really good grants manager and 2 research director kind of positions approximately. We also have a person in ITAR, and we have a person in licensing as well now, a half a person in those areas. Our money spent is a little bit lower in the new system, but what it allows us to do is to get to bigger proposals, in fact far bigger proposals. We have better people. We have a process where if a team of faculty come in and ask for money, we will support them. F3A, Kevin is certainly the lead on one of those teams. We have industry days now. I don't think anybody in here has done this, but we have a process where we will work with large contractors, usually large defense companies. I think Veolia will be the first company that we do this with that's not a defense company, where they give us a slide deck with their needs. We circulate that, get responses back from faculty. We take all the responses, give them back to the company. Company picks. We have 13 or 14 talks. Company brings in the people relative to those 13 or 14 talks. And so we don't have a lot of this wasted time going back and forth where people are talking about stuff. They're talking about stuff we don't care about, and we're talking about stuff they don't care about. So it allows you to do a marriage a little bit nicer than what we've been doing. Research marketing, we do a lot now at conferences. We have a very nice newsletter that comes out from our research group, no less than probably once every 2 weeks right now. And finally, these new public-private partnership concepts. We're starting to investigate opportunities using L3Cs, which are low-profit. Has everyone heard of them? L3C corporations. So these are philanthropreneur type ideas. They're not nonprofits like a 501c3, so they're low profit, but they have to be for public good kinds of companies. So you have to work on things like water, like food, like sustainability, those kind of things. And what it allows you to do is get companies to invest as well, and you can also get investors to put money in, and they're low rates of return, 2 and 3% rates of return. So it's for people who want to invest in that kind of a process. They've been around for about a decade. I think Vermont was the first state that allowed these kind of corporations, which makes sense. Vermont should do that. We've been doing some very large proposals. We put a $120 million proposal together. Didn't win, but we showed people we could at least put the project out the door. In the next month or 2, we will be working on our engineering research centers. The FY14 solicitation is due out any minute now. Likely this group will be in this energy water nexus, and that's one of the team leads right there. And then I came, just before I got here, the National Earthquake Center is up for bid again, and we're going to lead. It looks as though we're going to lead one of those proposals. And our role will be to manage all of the sites and be the data collection and cyber infrastructure for the National Earthquake Network. That's what we're trying to do. So I left the meeting with some of the partners who shall remain nameless and the university infrastructure. It'll be a cross-campus project. I mean, I was literally in a room with the UITS people, the computer science people, LPL, I mean, all the people on campus who work in iPlant, who work on the large projects. So Robert's leading that, and I'm going to guess that's full-time for Robert for the next 2 or 3 months. Does that sound right? And I know Teresa's on that team, and we've put some players from the college level as well. I mean, again, this is probably a $100 million proposal over the horizon of the project. I mean, it's probably a $15 million a year for 7 years, something like that, is my guess. What's that?
5 years.
5 years, 12 million?
Yeah, 5 years.
Okay. Yeah, so, and our piece is not all, I mean, you also have to have the money to run the sites, right? There's the network where the equipment is, that's not us, but the infrastructure part is going to be fairly large. We've had some good successes. Perry Lee led a team that did a large Muri project. We just popped a DARPA project. We're waiting. The Muris for this year are due out any day now. We have 5 in the finals. They're all by invitation only, and so we have 5. They're all in the 5 to 8 million each level, so we'll get a chance to see. Jeff Jacobs hit a $1 million project 2 weeks ago, so that was really nice. We put together the university transportation proposals here, and I had a chance to talk about this at Roads and Streets. So we did one center here where we were the team lead, Flex Press. Yi Chang Chu was the lead on that. We had ASU, NAU, UNLV, Texas Tech, Louisiana Lafayette. We had industry support from SOMAS, thank you. Norris Design, TUSD was in this. There was a bus routing problem. And Rural Metro. And then Econesta was the ASU center where we were in it with AAU, NAU. Wei Lin from SIE was our team lead here on this project. Different set of activities. Flex Press, the central pieces of Flex Press were the high-speed bus line from between here and Phoenix. And then once you get to that point, how do you integrate into the rest of the transportation network? And then we worked in fire, car, bike share, school transportation around those kind of things. And then Econesta was looking at economic competitiveness. If you don't have a good transportation infrastructure, it's hard to be economically competitive. And so they looked at a large number of potential projects, and we put a couple into these categories right here from our team. Let's talk a little about the building, and it's not where we're sitting right here, but it's right next door to where we're at. So our current team, Smith Group, are the architects. There's us. The construction manager at risk is Sunt, and right now we're at the point where Smith Group and Sunt are dinging back and forth on the preliminary design so we can get some idea of where we're at relative to how much money is this going to cost. Initial expectations, it's about a $70 million project at 70,000 net square feet, 130,000, 135,000 gross square feet, something like that.
Where exactly is this?
It's going to be, in 1 second, I'll show you. I'll give you the site in a second. PADRAC is the group at the U of A that protects me from getting too far out of line and being taken advantage of by all these Sharpies here in Smith Group and Sunt. You don't want me to be taken advantage of. And Dave Diebold is the local architect. So in this process of interviewing architects and construction companies, I can tell you the main criteria were closeness and the ability to work with people in Arizona, and in particular in the construction managers, the ability to work with subs was an absolute, local subs was an absolutely critical evaluation criteria. And Sunt buried everybody else in the oral presentations. They absolutely annihilated the rest of the players. So they were good. Let me get this look a little closer. So we've been programming. We actually have a programming document completed. We're working on concepts, and we're going to start schematic design. We're about 2 weeks behind on the concepts here. And they have to take the current concepts, which I will show you through PADRAC in about a week. Key areas for civil engineering. There is a wonderful infrastructure laboratory where we will be able to do physical tests and meld those with virtual simulations, very much in the way that Berkeley can do this as well. And I think that is about, I'm trying to remember the square footage in that, it was 6,000 or 7,000 square feet net. For that particular space. High bay, ability to bring in large equipment and do exciting stuff. The real neat thing about the building is the cyber infrastructure that will allow us to hook up the visualization and the cyber infrastructure with the actual equipment to move data around very quickly. There's a wonderful modeling and simulation, I said, and there's going to be space for student clubs and senior design. Mostly the car clubs, and I think I stole this picture off of somebody else's website. I think it was from one of the Australian schools.
Illinois, actually.
Yeah, what's that? It could be Illinois. Yeah, that's certainly a place where they could have done that. Robert did the design on the infrastructure. He probably had 15 or 20 people working with him as to what we needed, and even down to the level of an observation deck. These are the kind of things that we're hoping to be able to test. Material development, testing of infrastructure, transportation systems. Again, the idea is to link virtual and physical. Here's where it's located. And so you are here. Vine Annex, actually here. Okay, that's about where we are. And so that's west. And this will be in the parking lot of Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering. And if you look at that site, it's about 7,500 square feet. And if you do some setback that's reasonable, you get down to a site that's about 50,000 square feet gross. And if I want to build 150,000 square feet gross. I got to have 3 stories, or 135,000. I'm going to have 3 stories. So we're looking at a 3 or 4 story building. That's about where we're at. It's a beautiful site in that it has frontage on Speedway, it's frontage on Highland, it's frontage on Helen. There's really no back to the building. So it's really interesting. This right here is one of the more dangerous corners with all the people and all the cars. And so one of the points and the keys of the project is to be able to move people through Highland as the strategy for movement, not through Mountain and Speedway. We've already had at least 1 faculty member and 3 students hit on that corner. It's typically 2 cars hitting and 1 jumping up on the curb. That's what, surprise, yeah. And so it can be very dangerous in that situation. The Speedway has about, someone told me, I think it's about 50,000 cars a day that goes through there. That sounds like an advertising opportunity that we're completely missing. And so we will try not to do that. And then you can get a chance to see, I didn't bring all the pictures that I had. This is there was a scheme A, it was eliminated. Okay, so I don't think there wasn't a scheme A. We just started with B. Yeah, scheme A. So some of the nice things that you can see here, the beautiful courtyard integrated with the existing building. This is AME South, that's AME North. And this is the parking lot, and your building where you're at is right across the street there. So the ability to go through a clear presence on Speedway, which is right here. And in fact, this is the envision where the student center will be.